Congratulations, she left you, and now listen. Open your bank account right now. Look at that number. Now imagine showing that number to the guy she's currently with. Yeah, we're starting there. Because here's the thing. Nobody in your life has the guts to say to your face, she didn't leave because of bad timing. She didn't leave because she wasn't ready for something serious. She didn't leave because Mercury wasn't retrograde or because you two had different energies. She left because she did a quick value assessment, ran the numbers, looked at the competition, and made a completely logical business decision. And bro, the business was not looking good. Let's just be honest about the full picture here. You were broke, not going through a rough patch broke, not investing in myself broke, actually genuinely checking if you can afford a meal deal broke. You were weak, not I don't care about gym culture weak, I get winded walking to the fridge weak. You had the ambition of a man destined for greatness and the output of a man whose greatest achievement this month was finishing a series on Netflix. You had 15 unfinished business ideas, 0 revenue, and the audacity, the absolute nerve to describe yourself as an entrepreneur in casual conversation. And somewhere across town, there's a guy who actually goes to the gym, actually has money in his account, and actually doesn't spend 40 minutes rehearsing a phone call before making it. You have a smaller dick and her boyfriend has a bigger dick. She found him, he said hello, her nervous system said, finally, and you, my friend, got replaced faster than a phone case. Now, before you go typing she was shallow in the comments, relax. We're not here to villainize her. We're here to have the conversation your boys were too scared to have with you over Xbox. She was not shallow. She was efficient. Here's what's actually going on inside your brain, and this is where it gets genuinely interesting. There's a concept in evolutionary psychology called mate value. And before you roll your eyes, yes, it sounds like something a guy with a podcast and a red light in his room would say. But the actual science is real. Humans aren't just looking for someone who makes them laugh. The nervous system is running a constant background scan. Is this person resourceful? Are they capable? If something goes wrong, will this person fix it or become another thing I have to fix? When you stopped caring about your bank account, when you let your body go, when the most decisive thing you did in a week was pick a Spotify playlist, you weren't just being chill. You were sending a biological signal, a very loud one. The signal said, I am a liability. And her nervous system, not even consciously, just started quietly calculating the exit. But here's where it gets a little darker, because we need to go deeper than just go to the gym and get a job. There's a psychological state called learned helplessness. It's what happens when your brain, after failing or being ignored enough times, just decides, quietly, without telling you, that effort is pointless. And so you stopped. Not because you're lazy at your core, but because somewhere along the way, staying broke kept people from expecting things from you. Staying weak kept you from having to protect anyone. Staying unbothered kept you from having to compete. Your incompetence wasn't an accident, it was a strategy. A terrible, lonely, self-defeating strategy, but a strategy. You built a whole personality around being the guy with potential that never arrives, because if you never actually try, you can never actually fail. Genius. Truly. Worst genius move ever made. And now here's the part where I emotionally destroy you with love. You didn't just lose her, you invited her to leave. Deep in that part of the brain you refused to visit, you were testing her. You stayed broke, stayed soft, stayed stuck, specifically to see if she'd love you anyway. You wanted unconditional acceptance at your absolute worst. The problem is that worst wasn't a phase for you, it was a permanent address. You kept waiting for her to prove she was different, and she kept waiting for you to become who she knew you could be. You were both waiting. Nobody moved. And then one day, someone with actual money and actual muscle just walked up and said hello without rehearsing it 3 times first. Game over. Now, before I go telling you he's your dad, let's make this abundantly clear. Here's what I'm not going to tell you. I'm not telling you to buy a sports car. I'm not telling you to get shredded by Friday. I'm telling you something much simpler and much more terrifying. The moment she left, the test ended. There's no audience anymore. No one to impress, no one to fail in front of, no one watching you stay stuck. It's just you. And in that silence, you have exactly one choice. Keep performing incompetence for an empty room, or actually, finally, embarrassingly, messily, start building something real. It won't look cool at first. It will look like early mornings you don't want to wake up for. It will look like a bank account that grows by $12 a week. It will look nothing like the version of success you've been daydreaming about instead of creating. But that's what actual progress looks like. It looks like a mess before it looks like anything else. She didn't leave because you were unlovable. She left because she was tired of being the only person in the room who believed you were capable of more. She saw the version of you that could exist, and when she realized you weren't even trying to find him, she had to go find someone who already had. Go look in the mirror, not the flexing angle, not the good lighting. Just look, and ask yourself honestly, would you bet on you right now? Because here's the thing, there's actually a specific reason why nice guys, the ones who think they lost purely because they were too kind, are somehow even stucker than you are right now. And that's a conversation that's going to hurt considerably more than this one. But something tells me you're not ready for that yet. Check back when you've done something worth checking in on.